And welcome back to Power Breakfast here on Citizen TV. We will be continuing our breakfast tips with Chef Ali in just a short while. And like I mentioned, we'll also have a musical interlude from DJ Roy T-Boy at some point before the show. But right now I want to cross over to Kwale County and talk to Stephen Leto. He is at the Council of Governors induction. He's going to give us a brief update on what's happening there this morning, and then we'll be right back here to Power Breakfast with more. Over to you, Stephen Leto.
Well, a very good morning to you there, Joy, in studio. We continue to pitch a tent in Kwale County, where we are expecting any moment from now the Council of Governors to be hosting an induction for all the 47 governors and their 47 deputies across the country to, teach them, or rather bring them up to speed on the issues of devolution and the second term of devolution that has already set in. President Uhuru Kenyatta is the chief guest of the official opening of this induction that comes to a close on Saturday. Joy, a lot of issues expected, but first things first, we are seeing already several individuals making their way into Diani Reef Beach Resort, where this particular induction is taking place. For instance, we have seen representatives from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, a very critical pillar in devolution in terms of management and the use of resources in counties and the oversight. Of course, we have seen the chairperson of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, His Grace retired Archbishop Eliud Wabukala. He has already arrived here. We are also told that he is accompanied by the CEO of the commission, Halake Wako. The two of them have a session that they are supposed to take the governors during this induction on how they handle cases of mismanagement of funds in the first in the first 5 years of devolution. We have also seen the issue of the salaries also being a heated debate at the county level. We have seen the representation of a team from the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. Remember, SRC chairperson Sarah Serem is expected to retire in a month's time, and several issues she had raised. A lot of issues are going on in the counties in terms of massive misappropriation of funds, as well as a bloated public service at the county level. She raised that a lot of her the issues that they wanted to achieve is a process where we have a free we bring down the wage bill. But according to SRC chairperson Sarah Serem, when she hosted their retirement luncheon, she said that county governments had really did not play their role in terms of bringing the wage bill down. And now what happens next is she wants all that brought down. She says the public, the boards in the county level are supposed, to ensure that the hiring of staff is regulated, to ensure that there are a lot of issues that must be cut down in terms of wage bill. And so a lot is going on. The arrivals are governors are coming into this particular session all the way from their respective counties. We have several sessions that we are going to bring to you up to speed, and of course the issues of how counties are using their funds. For now, we are joined by Kajiado Governor Joseph Ole Lenku, just to bring us up to speed what we are expecting in this induction period.
Induction is about individuals learning new assignments, the rules that govern it, the policies, and staying abreast with the new path you are in. As governors, we are coming for induction on the role of governors, the role of devolution, the laws that govern it, the partnership, how county governments work with the national government and other agencies. And this has happened to all other arms of government. The MPs went for induction, the members of county assemblies went for induction, the senators did, and so the governor's bit was delayed because of the very prolonged electioneering period, because it was befitting for this induction to be graced by His Excellency the President of the Republic. And so today is the day, or rather this week is going to be the time for the governors to go through the induction.
How do you rate the first 5 years of devolution? You are a first-term governor, of course, having also served in the national government, that is the cabinet, in the first years of devolution. How do you rate how the previous governors have performed?
I think Kenya as a country, rather than looking from individual's perspective but from the country perspective, the framework of devolution, Kenya has done exceptionally well. Many countries have had devolved settings, but they have taken a lot longer to come to realities than what Kenya has done. For the last close to 5 years now, in a new devolved system, we see county governments running normally. We see institutions that support it getting stronger. One of them is the Council of Governors. And so I think as a country we have done very, very well. The previous governors have done their bit and they have done well. You know, it was a new situation. The country and many people did not know what they are coming into. Naturally, there was resistance because in every new environment there will be some resistance. And so that was witnessed. I think now it's going to be a lot more smoother, and going forward, devolution is going to be stronger and stronger because Kenyans are realizing the value of having a government closer to them. And so I see devolution working better in the next 5 years. And even in the coming years, it will keep on getting better until it's fully refined.
We have also the issue of transfer of functions that was initially supposed to come from the national government to the county governments. The issue of health has been devolved. The issue of the ECDs. What are some of the functions that are still held at the county, at the national level, that you think that this forum needs to address, that those functions also are fully devolved to the county level? What is pending?
Devolved functions are listed in Schedule 4 of the Constitution, and there may be some functions that has not been fully devolved that are supposed to be devolved. I see going forward a more collaborative approach between the national government and the county governments, and therefore I'm also aware, being a Jubilee governor, that the Jubilee government fully support devolution. There may have been delay in releasing some functions because of technicalities and know-how. It's not easy. It is not easy. Even resistance from officers who are holding those functions at the national government and may find a better way to hide, so to speak, and therefore cause the delay. There was also a requirement of laws to be passed to facilitate that kind of transition. And therefore, to list the functions, I would not want to belabor because they are fully listed in the Schedule 4 of the Constitution. But I want to emphasize that we will see default functions that has not been devolved before now coming into counties. I don't think the delay was in bad faith, as it may be perceived by our political opponents. It may have been caused by laws that required that movement. It may have been delayed by officers, and therefore, as I said earlier, devolution will keep on getting better. With the more functions coming to the county as required by the law, the more stronger the counties become, and that is what Kenyans want.
Finally, we've seen the issue of accountability. We've seen, of course, the Council of Governors has invited the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. There are a lot of governors who have really facing those, queries with the Auditor General. As the new crop of the governors that are coming in, what are we going to see going forward in terms of accountability and prudent use of, public resources?
From this induction taking place, we see there is going to be a lot of information and individual to present the legal framework and what is required. I think what may have caused a problem with the previous governors is because they were in a new terrain, a new environment, a new situation, a new system, and they were bound to make mistakes going forward. And therefore, as I said, devolution is going to be stronger, and this induction is going to make the new governors even better. The coming in of anti-corruption and other arms of government is basically to interact the new governors on almost the do's and don'ts. Not literally, but very close to that, so that also people understand the limits and the parameters within which to work from. We see there is also a lot of involvement in the UN agencies. You know, we see independent commissions making presentations because they all want to make this devolution work and strengthen the governance and the system of devolution.
Now, just to wind it up, there is the Equalization Fund, and being the governor for Kajiado, Kajiado is one of the counties that is supposed to, you know, benefit with the Equalization Fund, if I'm not wrong. So far, how has that come to help the marginalized counties, and going forward, are we going to see the Council of Governors pushing for an increment of the Equalization Fund, especially for the marginalized counties?
You see, one of the reasons why Kenyans opted for the devolution path is because counties that were perceived to be far from the central government seat of power, that is Nairobi. Take, for example, northern Kenya, Upper Rift Valley, much Lower Rift Valley, where Kajiado County is part of them. Many Kenyans felt that they did not have a proper connection, and the national government was not reaching them. Kenyans said, we need a government that we can reach, that is nearer to us, that fully understands us, hence the coming in of devolution. Equalization Fund was the acceptance that really there is that problem, that some areas are much more neglected, probably not deliberately, and therefore there is need for them to come closer to bridge the gap that has emanated out of the 50 plus years of a centralized government. And therefore we hope this Equalization Fund is going to bring those neglected counties very close to where their developed partners are. And therefore Kajiado, as much as Kajiado proximity to Nairobi may be perceived as not a very far county, some parts of Kajiado are really, really far. Don't forget that Kajiado is slightly bigger than Rwanda as a country. And therefore, as much as we are very close to Nairobi, we border Taita Taveta far to the south, Nanok far to the north, and another 8 counties along the central line and bordering the whole stretch of the Kenyan-Tanzania line, northern Tanzania. And therefore, some parts of Kajiado, like Torosei, Rombo in Kajiado South, Torosei in West, Meto at the south, that is Kajiado Central, those areas require a lot of support to improve the infrastructure, put up facilities like hospitals and schools to bring them closer to parts of the country that are considered developed. And therefore that Equalization Fund is critical for bringing those marginalized areas to the mainstream system.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That is Governor 034, the governor for Kajiado County, Joseph Jama Ole Lenku, breaking it down what we really expect from the devolution induction, or rather induction of all the 47 county governors and their deputies. He has highlighted a lot of issues in terms of prudent use of public resources, the issue of the Equalization Fund that goes even far to the north, as well as how the relationship between the central government and all the 47 county governments. Remember, the bottom line, or what this induction period seeks to achieve, is 48 governments, one nation. That means 47 county governments, one national government that forms one nation, and that is what we are expecting. We are told that the President of the Republic of Kenya is already on his way to open this induction that comes to a close on Saturday. And of course, Joy, we want to get back to you, or rather to hand it back to you in our communication center studios in Nairobi before we come back for the Citizen Extra segment that kicks off at 9 a.m. Back to you in studio.